Hello guys, thank you for watching this video. This is the video according with the second week of the lecture of computer science and for the foundations of logic. Let's talk about this time about the semantics. I'm going to introduce to you one in Greek symbol which is rho. Rho is this symbol. If you search or Google it on internet, you can find more about of this information of the symbol of rho. This rho represent an only function, and an example, it could be part of the non-logical constants. In this part, this is going to represent the set of 0 and 1. It's another way to say like true or false, and it's one function of the domain. So in other words, we can say that the domain that have this symbol, the symbol rho, it's equal and one non-logical constant. Remember that this con is part of the zero order language. If you want to learn more about it, you can go back in my videos. I'm pretty sure it's in the first video or in the second one that I explain you about of the zero order language, but this is really important to know. Okay, so we have one more new definitions. If we know that, we can conclude that the rho it belongs to the set, in this case, of 0 and 1. But this is very important because this is like in the power of set, you can put one non-logical constants here that this could be multiplied if you are putting more. I'm going to give you one example. Let's put an example of the set that contain one singleton or just one element, in this case p. In the row that don't have nothing here, we are going to deduct like p is equal to 0. But if I put row and I put something prime, or this little 1 here, that means that is going to be the opposite for something for say. So that means this is the 1. This is just a mapping that we can map in this in one table, an example. What if there's more elements in this set? That this is going to be the case of p and the element, oh, I'm so sorry, I got to put here the q. This is the set. What going to be this case? Okay, so in the row p, in the first mapping line, this is going to be equal 0. But also in the row that don't have any power, that it's in the first level, it's going to be q equal 0. Let's talk about of the row prime. In this row prime, the p will have the value of 1, and in the another row prime that corresponding to the non-logical constants q is going to be the 0, almost the same. But what about in the row second? In the row second, the p is going to be going to have the value of 0, the opposite like here. But in this case, the row second of q, this is going to have the value of 1. Let's continue with in the third case. Row 3 in p will be the value of 1, and row the third, the Q will have the value of 1. As you can see, this is like 0, 1, 0, 1, or in another case like false, true, false, true. If you see in the second line, this is going to read like 0, 0, 1, 1. And it's like exchange the numbers here, but this is in pairs. And this is because there's two elements in the set of non-logical constants. And we can imagine one number like this. There is one power of something. I'm going to map in and describe this in one element, but before of that, let me give you some important information about of these elements. As you can see here, I described in the last video, but I want to set up this time just to verify that you remember. This is the conjunction, and this is the disjunction. Also, in this part is the implication, and this is the equality. With this in mind, let's make one true value to demonstrate this that we check in one mapping row. Okay, let me give you this example here. If we have the absolute value of A, if we put the A and we put these two lines, that means the absolute value of the row. And here also we can put the absolute value of B. If you have this is the absolute value, okay? And this element, once again, I told you before, it's for row. But by the way, it's missing here. I'm sorry, I'm just fulfill the extra information. Okay, we got it. So in the first line, we are going to start over with the right side, with B. Remember that we start with the 0. Also in the row A of the absolute value will be corresponding to 0. What about of the prime? This is going to continue with the 0, but this is going to be the 1. So what's the next? Remember, if we put the absolute value of B, because it's in the right hand, this is going to be the opposite, 0, but here is going to be exchanged for 1. Remember, this is the area of the pairs, and in the another side with B, the absolute value will be corresponding, yes, for 1, because this is the opposite. This is just 0, 1, 0, 1, and here is 0, 0, and in pairs 1 and 1. What about the absolute value? Remember, this is the sign of conjunction, and conjunction is to say and. So if we have these values or this mapping of the absolute values, we can deduct that the only way that is going to be a true value is that A is going to be a true and B is also going to be a true. So true, here you can see, and true, or in another say 1 and 1, it's equals to 1, the absolute value. Otherwise, it's going to be 0 in the next rows. Okay, so what about with the disjunction? The disjunction is or. So the only chance that have a 0 or false value is that A is false, like you can see, and B will be false. This is the only change the only chance that is going to be a zero value. Otherwise, the next row's elements will be 1, the absolute value, or true. Okay, what about the equality? The equality say that if there is two elements in the same way, it's going to be true. So if you have an example 0, 0, or false and false, the representation of the absolute value will be 1. Here is the same situation. If we have true and true, because they are equals, the absolute value of this formula is going to be 1. Otherwise, it's going to be 0. What about the implication? This is a symbol of implication. Say that the only chance that have 0 is that start with true and end in false. So we have something interesting here, because otherwise it's going to be true or the number 1. So 0 and 0, this is going to be 1. 0 and 1, this is going to be 1. 1 and 1, this is going to be 1. But here's accomplish the element. This is A is going to be 1 and B is going to be 0. So that is the only chance to have this 0 or false element. Now, it's not the same put A implication B to put B